Victoria. It's just past 1 o'clock now. We still have quite a few people coming into the room. So I will get started so we don't run overtime and we get everything covered. It is being recorded, so you'll be able to have a copy of this afterwards as well. Welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your lunch break today to hear from Leadership Victoria on leading with purpose. So as we go through the session, please feel free to add your questions to the chat box, the chat room, as we go along, as you think of them, and we'll answer them if we can as we go along. Alternatively, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the information that we're sharing, so you can ask anything you would like there, and we will get to your questions. So I would like to start this afternoon's proceedings with an acknowledgement of our country and the traditional custodians on the lands and waters on which we gather today. I'm speaking to you from unceded Wurundjeri Woiwurrung lands, and I'd like to pay our respects to the leadership, storytelling and teachings of First Nation peoples, to the elders of the past, the elders of today, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that are here joining us today. Thank you. And yeah, lovely country. So today we're going to be spending a little bit of time on talking about us, Leadership Victoria, who we are. Then we're going to touch on purpose-driven leadership. And we also have some amazing leaders and alumni from our programs who are here today to share candidly their experiences during and after their leadership programs that they participated in. And of course, as I mentioned, we're going to be opening the floor to you for your questions. So again, feel free to add questions in the chat as we go. Joining me today, we have myself. There's a nice picture of me from short hair time ago. I'm the partnerships lead here at Leadership Victoria. So I partner with individuals, organisations, philanthropy and sponsors to make sure that we are continuing to build and grow an amazing community of leaders to do the best we can for the greater good of Victoria. I'm also joined by Katie and Nkosi. If you guys can take yourself off mute quickly and introduce yourself.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Katie. I'm one of the program designer and facilitators on the team. Looking forward to this conversation very much. Casey?
Yes, I'm Kasi. I'm the marketing and communications lead. So anything under the marketing communications umbrella, that's what you will find me doing. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and I'm excited to get on with it.
Thank you so much, crew. We're also joined by our amazing alumni. So Robert, Lydia and Maria, I'd like to get you guys to come off mute and do a quick intro to yourselves as well, so we all know who's here today. Robert?
Thank you, Lauren. Hi, everyone. It's exciting to see everyone join, but also Leadership Victoria acknowledgement for the invitation of this program. So my name is Robert, and I'm a Community Liaison Coordinator at Melton Secondary College. I've been in the role for close to 8 years now, and I'm one of alumni for Igniting Leadership program, which I will speak more about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Lydia?
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia Stojanovski. I work at the Transport Accident Commission, which is a Victorian state government insurance agency for CTP insurance, if you don't know who we are. I did the Leader Evolution program, and I'm really pleased to be here today to speak to you about my experience during that time.
Lovely. And Maria?
Hi everyone, my name is Maria De Leon Santiago. So I'm the manager of the Sphere Centre of Research Excellence at Monash University. So we are a research entity that is focused on improving the sexual and reproductive health care for women in Australia. I've been in the role the last 5 years, and I recently completed the Women's Leadership Program, and I'm really pleased to be here to share my experiences. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. So a little bit about us. Leadership Victoria, we've been around for about 30 years. We started off as an organisation built by Hugh Williamson, who is a CEO of ANZ, and he wanted to start a foundation and a training program to build the capabilities, capacity, and skill sets of leaders in community-based organisations. So these community-based organisations were grassroots organisations that changed Victoria for the greater good. It's pretty amazing, and we here at LV still stick to this vision. Over the last 30 years, we've taken about 5,000 or just over 5,000 people through our 10 months Williamson program. It is a fantastic program. We run separate information sessions on that because 10 months is a lot to cover in an hour. So to us, leadership is an activity. It's not just a title. It's the things you do, the actions you take. You don't need to be a CEO. You don't need to be a director. You could be anybody in your community wanting to enact change. And that's our ethos and that's our approach. So we look to build leaders who want to lead, to build a greater, more equitable society in Victoria. So one of our unique propositions is that we bring together leaders from all sectors, all identities, backgrounds, and experiences, and we use our programs to tap into each other's myriad of expertise, and you grow and learn as a collective. So we build skills and adaptive leadership, but also create strong, holding environment where you can create deep, trusted, and long-lasting connections with your peers, and together you will be collaborating in workplace and friendship style relationships for the ongoing future, for the greater good of whatever leadership goal that you have that you would like to achieve. So moving on to our vision. So our vision, our purpose, and our goals continuously thread through every aspect of our program, which is why I touch on them today. So our vision, as I keep mentioning, is to build an inclusive, equitable and sustainable society. So a greater Victoria, and a greater Victoria leads to a greater Australia. And to enable this, we develop connections and inspire diverse leaders and build skills, capacity and confidence to tackle society's complex and systemic problems. So all of those with our values front and centre. So the courage, the integrity, the curiosity and respect that we exemplify as an organisation and that we thread throughout our programs. That's where the purpose-driven leadership comes in. So you've quickly met three of our amazing alumni, and when you attend a program, you'll be an amazing leader as well and have a peer group of other outstanding leaders to change the world with. We know this because of this change model that I've got up on the screen here. So we change through interventions, outcomes, and impact. We've tried and tested this approach over 30 years. We know it works. Interventions to expand your breadth of awareness and knowledge through the peers in the program, the seasoned and well-known leaders that we have in as guest speakers and facilitators, the stretch moments and the crucible moments that you have as part of the facilitation process, and the knowledge that you share and have shared with by your peers and colleagues. It all builds into your long-lasting change, and it will have a long-lasting impact on your life as well. I've spoken with alumni of 5 years, 10 years, even 25 years ago who talk about moments in the program that they participated in that have stayed with them for a long time. They refer to moments that they've uncovered during their program as life-changing and something that they draw from all the time to remind themselves how far they've come as individuals and leaders. But enough from me. I can talk about the impact and change we've had on people's lives for hours. I'm pretty passionate about the amazing work we do here at Leadership Victoria. So I'm just going to hand over to Katie now, and Katie will share about the learning and facilitation process and experience.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. So I'm going into my second year with Leadership Victoria, and in doing what I do, I draw from about 20 years of professional leadership experience in education and in different commercial and non-profit settings, and also a lot of training and background in leadership development, learning sciences, coaching, facilitation, group work, that kind of area. And I'm one of several folks who you get to work with in the leadership programs that we run. So in working with Leadership Victoria facilitators, you get to work with a lot of creative and energized people who are by your side throughout the whole program, no matter the length or breadth of the program. Of course, what we're doing with our leadership learning together is really focusing on you. And so, as Lauren's saying, the activity-based approach that we use is really starting from you, starting where you are and helping you get insight, build awareness about where you're at and where you might go, and then moving you towards action so that you can make change in yourself, in others, in your organization, and your broader context. We work in all of those spaces, quite deep inner development work. So you can expect to do work around generating insights about yourself, feedback from others that you work with, those types of things. You can expect to do lots of group work and collaboration with each other. We do a lot of work peer-to-peer style, and a lot of that is diagnostic in nature. And so you can ask lots of questions, investigate what's happening in your environment, and really understand complex problems together, doing that work collaboratively. And then also leadership challenges. And so starting to move forwards with change while you're working on the program. We have a big emphasis on experimentation. So it's a very creative process. It's a very collaborative setting, and a very open, candid, and trusting setting as well. So you'll be working towards these 4 things. We do work on leadership character, so your strengths, your vulnerabilities, what makes you tick. We will be digging into big picture strategic leadership challenges. So we want you to be thinking now about what challenges are you taking on? What would you like to work towards? Bring that into the room to work with your colleagues during the program. We're really proud, as Lauren said, to have built really big and powerful networks of leaders. And so once you're an alum of an LV program, that network stays with you, but it actually begins in the classroom. And so going deep together and forming those relationships is really critical. And we're making progress on complex challenges. Very often when we're making change in a fast-moving, volatile, confusing, chaotic space, there's deep uncertainty in our work. Even moving a little bit forward seems impossible sometimes. So how do we make progress? What do we need to do? And we look at all of those things. We do draw on a lot of bodies of work of leading leadership development practitioners from around the world, of whom you can see one pithy quote here. And we try and bring together a lot of relevant bodies of work, thought leadership, practices, methods, tools that will help you to really practically move forwards. So I hope that helps paint a little picture, and certainly happy to explore that a little bit more in questions in a while. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, Katie. Now I'm going to open the floor to the lovely Robert. So Robert is an alumni of our Igniting Leadership program. He attended the program as a 5-day program that we deliver over the space of 5 weeks with and it delves into your strengths, focuses on developing your communication skills, and helps influence and change and coach your team members. Robert, can you please unmute so everyone can see you and say hello?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. And it's great to hear the history of Leadership Victoria and how it was founded. So it's always good to focus on a strength base, but also areas of improvement. Australia is one of the developed countries regarded among OECD countries, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. It's really important to look at the workforce, how the workforce operate, but also some of the challenges. As a member and former alumni who attended Leadership Victoria, I've seen a lot of Leadership Victoria program delivered to community members, government organizations, departments, I would say, and also community leaders who work at grassroots. So I kept hearing about Leadership Victoria courses until when our principal was moving on from the role, because I've been in the role for 7 years when our principal was there. Last year, that's when he's retired. that's when the principal recommended leadership development, because I managed for a team of 4 members, and it required a lot of support, but also balancing between the team. So that's how I came about attending a igniting leadership program. So my background, I was born in South Sudan, partly raised in Kenya, and lived in New Zealand. And that's where I've done most of my study before moving to Australia. So being in the role as a person of color, it comes with challenges, but it comes with opportunities. And some of those challenges, what led me to do the program. One is our principal recognizing the skill that I need to expand from. And then the second thing is for me to develop those high-end leadership opportunities. And that's what Leadership Victoria offered. Another aspect is some of the challenges that I was facing leading the team, because managing people with diverse views, diverse needs, it needed me to expand from it and being able to manage team conflicts and also managing myself as some of the opportunities that Leadership Victoria offered.
Fantastic. So can you describe the Igniting Leadership program and the impact it had on you and your leadership?
In terms of the impact on me, is when I attended the session, I was at the session with some of the informed members of the participants who work at the government setting. So having learned from some of the leadership challenges that they were going through, doing one-on-ones like reflection, but also group work, being able to present on some of the key learning, but also opportunities, is good to share that knowledge across, and it's good for everyone to listen into those learning opportunities. But also the course facilitator was incredibly amazing, Donna. She's
great.
well experienced and was able to guide us through some of area that we need to dig deeper in terms of understanding our own strengths and also where the opportunities lie. So I think that was a good learning for me.
Yeah. And what would you take away as your key learning?
My key learning is understanding where my challenges lie in terms of some of the leadership challenges that I was facing at work. Being able to gain resources and knowledge on the course book that was given to us called Leadership Age. Using those learning tools to reflect and refer back to them was an incredible opportunity. And it's a knowledge that I can use anywhere where I go, because the resources are there. I'm an alumni. I can always reference back to Leadership Victoria content and reflection from the members that we attended the program together was still live with me.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Now, one more question before we move on. So thinking about you as a leader before you did the program and you as a leader after you've completed the program, how do you think your leadership changed and the perception of your leadership changed in the organisation at Melton Secondary College?
For me, like the learnings are always, they will always be with me, as I reflected before. But the challenges is about organization culture, people that you work with. It's always best to approach things in a calm manner, but also being able to pick your battle and seeing where you can influence the change, and aligning yourself with people that believe in your cause, but also having moral compass. I like the value exercise we've done at the Igniting Leadership, where you pick your top 10 values and then you narrow to 3. Most of the time there are conflicting values and opportunities, but is where your moral compass lies, and people that are mentors are the ones that are able to guide you toward that star that you want to be. So I think that was a good learning experience for me, because I'm still connected to principals that referred me to the program, and people that coach me within the organization at Melton Secondary College. Even though sometimes there are challenges, is focusing on opportunity than owning toward the challenges. One of the models that I like is William Bridge model, Transition Act, which I've learned from there. There are always fear, anger, denial, sad, disorientation, frustration, sense of loss, but is balancing them with a new prospect, as I've just reflected, in terms of where opportunities lie and where you can channel those energy. So that's best learning that I've got from Igniting Leadership.
Fantastic. So it realigned you and continued on with your purpose and your values, and you know that you're on the right compass and following the right trajectory and actually are living your life with purpose. That's great, Robert. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else you would like to share on your experience that we might not have touched on?
I think most of the content that you provide in terms of presentation and the importance of having these programs to participants, what I can tell you is when you attend this program, they are really enriching learning opportunities, and you meet people that have a different life experience, but also work in professional setting. The knowledge and skill you will share, but also the relationships you will build there are incredible. And the venue that our program is delivered is amazing. Travel out from Melbourne to the city, which, experienced a bit of corporate end. The food was amazing. So everything was just amazing and the staff are amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm really rapt to hear the positive experiences that you've had during the program and definitely those that you've grown on in your career afterwards. Thank you so much, Robert. Move on. Yeah, I'll move on now to Lydia. So Lydia is an alumni of our Leader Evolution program. It is a 3-day, very intensive leadership program that provides leaders with a new approach to lead when managing change, complexity, or stubborn problems. Lydia, if I can get you to come off mute, and I will we'll go through the same questions that we asked Robert.
Sure.
What led you to Leader Evolution?
Yeah, part of my leadership journey has been as a team leader and a project leader. And so my previous experience was really around delivery of product or projects. And I was successful in a promotion at work to become a senior manager in this role, which is responsible for a team of people leading projects. But now my role needed to look different. Rather than being the person to do the delivery and having a technical problem to solve, I had adaptive problems to solve, which was more around how do I influence the strategic direction of the organisation in value-based healthcare. How do I influence external health sector providers or health providers to adopt principles of values-based healthcare? So rather than me having a project to deliver, my role became far more of a position where I had to influence across my leadership group internally to be prioritised for other enablement functions within the organisation, as well as to influence externally in the public healthcare market. So rather than being stuck with the wicked problem of how do I deliver on this project, I had to think about what skills and tools I had to be able to convince people or challenge thinking or influence prioritization or their beliefs and values around the work that we were trying to deliver. And so I had to think about how I adapted my previous leadership experience into now this more of a senior leadership style of leadership.
Yeah, that's the perfect position to be in to come to the Leader Evolution program, is learning to tackle these non-technical challenges in a new way. So you definitely came to the program with a lot of workplace challenges, which is always fantastic, but can be overwhelming. So what key learnings did you take away from Leader Evolution?
There was 4 key components that we worked through during the 3 days. And whilst with your introduction, Lauren, you did say it's intense. It was intense, but it was absolutely manageable. We had 2 days back to back, and then 1 day, I think it was a week later. And you got to work with groups of other people that were in similar situations that had wicked problems around adaptive challenges and less technical challenges. For some people, part of that group work was really around splitting what is a technical challenge and what's an adaptive challenge. Because I think by nature, sometimes in my cohort we were very much problem solvers. So it was really actually taking that opportunity to sit back and think about, do you have a technical problem you're trying to solve? And how would you do that? Or is this an adaptive challenge? And where would you as a leader sit in that situation? And so we did a lot of talk about balconies and dance floors, which we always, I think about when I'm in leadership mode, and it's probably a personal comfort space of mine where I go straight to fixing the problem. I'm a mum and I'm a retired nurse, so I'm a natural fixer and doer of things. And so sometimes when I feel myself slipping, I really need to reflect and say, am I on the dance floor right now, or do I need to get back on the balcony? So I use that every day, really, in thinking about where I, as a leader, where I'm sitting, because if I get too deep onto that dance floor, I start dancing with the rest of the gang and I'm not actually working within the scope of what my organisation needs me to be working on. Another key thing I took away was really around giving the work back. So again, when people are natural doers, they tend to take on a lot of the doing as well. And so I did feel like there was a point where sometimes I felt really like I was working really hard all the time and putting in a lot of hours. And yes, we should be working hard in what we do, but I was probably not working on the right things that I should have been focusing on. So it was like, why am I doing this? And how do I give this work back to the right person who should be working on this? So how would I do that rather than just delegating everything? There were some things that absolutely I should not have been diving into. And that was a way of thinking about what I should be working on with my strengths and capabilities at this level, and what somebody else had the absolute strength and capability to deliver with me.
That's amazing. That's a really good skill to have. Sorry, Lydia. That's amazing.
That's all right. I wouldn't say I've perfected it, but it's a constant thing that I sit in the back of my mind of, and my manager sometimes will say to me, why are you working on that? And I'm like, that's right. Why have I taken this on? I probably should not be doing this, but I'm a natural, as I said, doer in my first response. And probably the last thing was really around similar to what Robert was saying, where can you influence? So sometimes I feel like leadership gets heavy when you feel alone and you are trying to influence and lead when you don't have that other buy-in. And so really taking stock and looking at who's with you, who may be against you, hard language, that kind of basic perspective, and how do you work with those people that are against you to bring them on board and become some of those early adopters, or how would you engage them with you to share that vision that you see? So those were the three things I really took away from the program.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. So you've explained it quite well about how your leadership has changed because of the program. Do you see the change reflected in your organisation? Do they recognise your new leadership approach, and do your team support you?
Yes. So my pleased to say my adaptive challenge, and probably the clear thing to say, is adaptive challenges don't get fixed in a week. I've been working on this adaptive challenge, I want to say, between 12 to 18 months. I'm just trying to convince people of a vision and a belief that I've got of how TSE clients could be better serviced through the health sector. And I've finally got people, and I've got enough people who have listened, and I've had the chance to demonstrate the value of the service, and I've used different techniques to bring them along to now at the point where I have executive endorsement and interest in pursuing a program of work, which we're just about to kick off planning for the next calendar year and financial year. So sometimes there's really quick wins, but sometimes your adaptive challenge takes a long time and it feels heavy, and you feel like quitting. But I'm pleased as punch at the moment that finally 18 months of just lots of conversations, lots of data gathering and influencing through, I use the 3 Fs, the fear, facts and faith kind of method of bringing people along that they're ready to now get on board and they can see the value of what we're doing. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that result.
Me too. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I love fear, facts, and what was the third one?
Faith.
Fear, facts, and faith. That's fantastic. I'm really rapt that you had a great experience and an even better experience in the last 12 to 18 months with your project, Workplace Challenge. That is definitely purpose-driven, and it warms my heart that both of you so far have had such positive experiences through the program and are now enacting change in the communities that you are involved with. So thank you so much for sharing. Before I move on, is there anything else you would like to share about your experience for everyone here today?
Probably to the point, I think maybe Robert had mentioned it, or maybe Katie, we're still part of a WhatsApp group chat. And so the connections that you make make. We're not catching up every week, but we use that as a way to share information. Or a good example this week is somebody in that group has got another person who's looking for a new role because there's contracts ending, and they've put it in that chat to say they've got a really great person who's looking for this type of a position. So it's more than just the leadership, it's that peer mentorship. There's always something in that chat that you can go, oh, this was interesting, and articles being shared. So it's almost like our cohort specifically is like a community of practice. And that's there if you need it, ignore it if you don't need it. But yeah, I've really valued that from this program, in contrast to some of the other programs I've done where, you know, for the purposes of that day, we were a cohort and then you don't see them or interact anymore. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest values of the Leader Evolution program as well.
Sorry, my dog just started barking. So sorry for that. Thank you, Lydia. That's amazing. We do pride ourselves on building community, not just greater Victoria community, but a community within the alumni of Leadership Victoria. So thank you for reiterating that. Maria, if I can get you to come off mute and say hello. So Maria completed our Women's Leadership Program, which is a residential retreat program where you deep dive into who you are, how you are, and why you are as a leader. It gives you time and space to focus on you without all the mess and noise from our day-to-day lives. So it gives you time to build confidence and strategies to work through complex leadership challenges, to influence change and build connections with an amazing group of peers. Maria.
Yes, so I think I can safely say that description is 100% accurate in terms of my experience with this particular program. So I actually received an award at Monash University to fund a professional activity or activities in this year. When I was looking around for courses to do, I decided to enroll in this women's leadership program that's offered by Leadership Victoria. And I think the decision was mainly based on the women part of it, which resonated a lot with me because I wanted to try something different to other leadership or people management courses that I had done previously. And we all know that there are particular challenges to being a woman in a leadership role. And I really wanted to explore how those can be overcome and also gain insights from the experiences of other women who are in similar roles and from different areas. So I obviously from an academic side, the academia, and I think there was only about 3 of us from that sector and all the others, I think mainly of public sector. So I thought that experience, being exposed to how what others people's challenges are, was extremely valuable. So I think that the fact that it's targeting women, I think was what really resonated with me. And I was really looking forward to learning more about the strategies that I could use. And also because I actually have not had any supervisors who are male. So I've spent my whole career with women in leadership positions, and I've seen the challenges that they've had in their careers. And I think how they've been able to cope with that has been through opportunities such as this that really hone in or focus on particular challenges that women face.
Fantastic. Did you have a specific workplace challenge that you took to the program?
I did, and it's so sometimes when I heard other people's challenges in this program, I reflected on mine. I thought mine sounds like a first world problem, to be honest, because everyone else seems to be like really big challenges. But I think the challenge that I brought to this course is again related to change and supporting our researchers in the team to view their research differently. It's not just about the doing of the research, but it's also how you let the community know about the impact of your research and how they influence their day-to-day lives. So that's always a challenge for many researchers because it's an aspect of their role that it's not really something that they have had to think about. So it's another thing on their plate that they have to do, and it's a perspective, or it's something different that I wanted to implement into our team because of a competitive environment that we work in terms of getting funding. So I'm always looking to find that competitive edge that puts us a little bit ahead of the others so that we're a bit more successful in gaining funding for our research activities and various research projects.
So the gain in funding was a direct result of the program?
Oh, I only completed the program about 3 weeks ago. I'm very young, a graduate for newbie. But I think what my key takeaway from the program was that my leadership style aligns with many of the values that we described in that program, which was reassuring for me as an individual because it meant that it confirmed to me that I was actually doing the right things. The imposter syndrome diminished a little bit because it wasn't until I did this that I thought, oh, I'm actually doing the right things here. And my leadership style is about empowering my team to become leaders themselves. And what resonated a lot with me is that statement that leadership is not a position, it is an activity. And I think from when I walked away after completing the program, I thought to myself, yes, I'm doing the right thing. And I also have a great responsibility to empower those within my team to become leaders themselves. Because I do, as much as I've only had women supervisors, my team is also probably about 98% women. So I get a lot of interactions with them where they're not as confident in their roles, even though they're the experts and they have the experiences and skills to be leaders themselves. They just don't have the confidence to do that. And so after I finished the program, I felt then I had that responsibility. I've had that knowledge from the course to be able to empower them to be leaders themselves and watch them grow into what they want to be in terms of their their career pathways.
Yeah, fantastic. So 3 weeks out and you're applying your learnings in the real world, in your real workplace. How are you finding it?
I think it is challenging because this is one of those things that will take time. But I think when you're consistent in your messaging and your confidence in your team, I only think that there'll be a positive outcome from that. And I think many of them have always said, and I guess it's a little bit of the imposter syndrome coming through. I've always thought of myself as a leader, but I never really saw myself as that. And I think leading by example is a great strategy to use, even though you don't see yourself as in a position of leadership. But I think a lot of the confidence that you can instill in others just gives them that leg up to continue and pursue things that they otherwise might not pursue because they didn't think they should be at the table.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Maria. Do you have any final things that you would like to share with everyone here today?
I think one of the things that I could be cynical at best at these sorts of courses, but because of past experiences. But this one I thought was one of the best courses that I've ever done. And I would recommend it to anyone who is looking to look at internally, like personally, what their leadership style is. And there are uncomfortable situations, like most people will not probably enjoy speaking in public. One of the challenges we did was to do a 1-minute speech on our challenges. And there's some people who would decline that opportunity, but then some of them actually, as we went through, the participants changed their minds halfway because it was such a supportive environment and everyone was really wanting to help people and give them the confidence to do things that otherwise would be uncomfortable for them. So this is one of those courses. I would sit there thinking, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You don't have the confidence. But by the end of it, you do. And the cohort are very supportive in flipping that switch to allow you to be the best that you can be in terms of a leader.
Yeah, fantastic. I also completed this program and loved it as well. Not as baby alumni as you, I did the earlier one in the year, but I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for your time, Robert, Lydia, and Maria. It's been great. They volunteered their times to be here today, and we didn't know what they were going to say. Thank you for your generous conversation and discussion, a candid discussion about your experiences. So companies that regularly send their people to our program are listed here on this website, but I would like to quickly open up to questions. I know we are just on time, so if anyone has a question, please raise your hand or go into the chat, which I'm reading now. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, I have a question. This is Rahil.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't get my camera.
That's okay.
My question to everyone for sharing, it's a very tempting program to attend. It was really interesting on all facets. My question is, how do we know what is the best program for us to participate in? How do we choose?
You can speak to any of our alumni, or you can actually book a time to meet with me. And I like to make sure that the program that you want to attend is going to be the right fit for you and where you are and your career goals. So we have the 3 programs that we've discussed today. We also have the 10-month program called Williamson Community Leadership Program, which I have briefly touched on. Each program has a specific goal and outcome that will suit you depending on your goals, your position in your career, where you are now. And yeah, like Maria said, she wanted to be immersed in the women's leadership. Lydia wanted to change from being an amazing technical leader to a strategic leader. And Robert was wanting some excellent foundational frameworks that he could use throughout his career to build his leadership competence and confidence. So each person comes in with a different goal, and each program will suit you depending on where you are. So happy for you to email me. My email is Lauren, Lauren, at leadershipvictoria.org. So feel free to email me directly, and we can work out a time where we can have a chat to discuss it with you.
Perfect. I will email you. Thank you.
And that goes for anyone else on the call. Feel free to email me. Any further questions?
Sorry, I have another question if there's no question. I know Lydia mentioned the amazing connections and community that has been built, which continues to the future. I just wanted to ask about other program. Is the same experience? Because that aspect is a very interesting part in terms of being able to connect to that community and have that network. Yeah, is that sort of something that is being focused on across all the different programs?
That is something we aim for, but it's probably best to open it to Maria and Robert to share their experiences on the programs that they completed this year.
As I said earlier, I completed the program 3 weeks ago, and I think Cozy was also part of the setting up afterwards of a LinkedIn group for the cohort. And we all managed to stay connected by exchanging our LinkedIn profiles. We all connected with each other there on site. But yes, there was a network that was set up that would allow us to keep in touch as a cohort.
And Robert?
As part of networking at the program, what Leadership Victoria does best is when you join the program, you get assigned with a buddy. So the buddy communicate with you from the get-go, and also there are tasks that you share together just to get to know each other more in terms of your passion, challenges, so you correspond back and forth. Then at the program, you meet different people that are expert in different areas. You will have shared interests or just curiosity connection. And then the program facilitator themselves, they do amazing work throughout the course. They make sure the communication is consistent. So it's about building that community of practice in terms of learning and from the networking event. At the end of the program, you get suggested with different avenue how to improve communication but stay in contact, as well as Leadership Victoria email regularly. And also the website, it has the content that you are allowed to access, so you can refresh and revisit the content. So it's very well structured.
Thanks, Robert. So we're definitely over time. I could probably take one more question if anyone's got anything. On the screen now, I've got a QR code that you can scan and download our brochures. So we've got more of the practical details of what is covered in the program module and the dates that we're running next year. The Leader Evolution program, the first one for 2024 is in February, and I currently only have 9 places left already out of a place of 26. And our first Igniting Leadership program is in March, and that is already half full, just to give you an idea of how in demand these programs are. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you do have any questions, my email, phone number is there on screen. Feel free to email me and phone me, and I will happily answer your questions. So thank you, everyone.